as I was remarking to somebody the other day, we were not supposed to be here. Tesla was supposed to be here. Even SunPower and Sunrun have out, they both either have been alive, almost 4 times longer than us, or over 2x longer than us. We were the new kid on the block. We were from Houston, we're not from California.
Yes.
And so it's
Your growth has been very impressive. You started in 2012, created the company, and you have been growing fast. I don't know, over the last 6-7 years, what is your annual growth rate?
well, I don't know that, unfortunately, at the top of my head. I want to say it's probably a little bit around 40%.
Oh, 40%. Okay.
Yeah, combined annual growth. I know for last year it was in the high 50s, 57, 58, I think somewhere in there. This year our guidance is 96% growth, and
wow.
and next year is 40% growth. So we've been accelerating, and that's a growth on a customer count basis. What we've also been doing is growing on the capital deployed per customer, or the revenue
Yes.
we collect per customer, the EBITDA, or earnings per customer, and cash flow per customer. So what's causing that? Additional technologies, mainly storage,
Yes.
but also we're adding a lot of other technologies that I've talked about previously, EV charging, generators, load manager, et cetera.
Yes.
But then on top of that, we're aggregating these customer bases like in the Northeast, and we're selling grid services to the independent system operators and regional transmission organizations for capacity mainly, but also energy and ancillary services, and sometimes directly to the utilities. And that generates further revenue on a per customer basis as well.
Mr. Berger, I get excited when I hear of success stories in Houston. I love that. I love
I do
seeing
too. Yeah.
companies succeed, right? Many years ago, we used to look at BMC software. We're very excited, right? You're a new energy company. We love to see you successful. When you do your strategy sessions, and your growth rate is very impressive, right? You talked about last year 90 plus percent, 40%, 50%, 60%. That's a very respectable, great growth rate. But do you ever get into your strategy sessions and say, how could we go really crazy and produce 2000% growth? What could we do that we completely rewire, completely rethink, right? What would you need to do as a company? Because if I need to take you from 4 billion in market cap to 400 billion in market cap, or even $1 trillion market cap, and have an Amazon right here in our backyard, right? That rate of growth rate, what do you have to do? How do you have to completely flip this on its head?
We think about that. I think it's going to really revolve around, one, you must have the financial firepower and balance sheet and cash flows to do it. We've actually are very close to achieving that for the first time anybody in the history of the residential solar industry. We have those cash flows and that balance sheet. So that gives us the ability to raise capital. I wouldn't say almost at will, but certainly it's gotten materially and keeps getting materially easier and materially cheaper.
Okay.
So you got to have access to capital, because what you're talking about is a ton of capital. You're talking about tens of billions of dollars, not even billions as we're dealing with today.
Yes.
And then the second thing, and I think it's most important, is you must have the hardware, most importantly, the software platform that we have fully built out, so that things become, for the dealers and the customers and us as the operators, materially easier to operate. Okay. And so this is where artificial intelligence and a bunch of the software development that we're doing, we're hiring and been hiring software developers, data scientists, and so forth at a very rapid rate. We probably have one of the biggest staffs in Houston. I'm certain we do, actually, at this point. And we continue to hire again at a very rapid rate. So once we start having enough critical mass there and things get much easier to execute on a single transaction basis, which again, we think we're within, a year or two of being able to do that, then I think that further accelerates our growth, both in the revenue per customer, but also in the number of customers out there. And then lastly is we're really watching the price of batteries. We need to continue to see that downtrend line. And once we get another 30-50% drop here, I think growth, we're pretty confident is going to take off even further from there.
As the CEO, as the chairman and the founder, you have all these variables that you have to watch. But in order to ensure success for your company, future success, what are the 1 to 3 things that you watch like a hawk, right? Of all the things because there is enough noise there, right? There is enough moving parts. What is it that you really watch and that you emphasize to the organization to never lose sight of?
Well, I think first and foremost is to focus on the customer and delivering a good service experience to the customer. And with that is we must deliver good experiences and services to the dealers, because a happy dealer definitely feeds into a happy customer.
Yes.
And I would say, the next one is the people. I spend a lot of my time every day, including today, focusing on the people side of things. How do we get the best people on board? How do we keep the best people? And, over the last, I don't have to, say this to, I think, you or your audience, but, the last 12 months, particularly even the last few months, as we come out of what we hope is coming out of the pandemic, it's a pretty significant managerial challenge because society has changed. And I recognize that, and I know where I was, because I was in the midst of our first major acquisition in the first week of January, when we acquired the SunStreet business from the nation's largest home builder, Lennar. And I realized that the folks there that were coming on board with the acquisition, many of them did not want to go back into their office. So we recognized that, and we adopted flexibility that I think was really economy leading, and embrace that change. But still, that takes a lot. There's a lot of some challenges that come with that too. How do you mentor? How do you build continue to build the culture? How do you get people to know each other so they can work together and work through issues and problems, particularly personality conflicts? So all those are challenges that we have to stay focused on. And then of course, then you got your economic metrics. How much liquidity do we have? How much cash? I mean, how much cash flow do we generate? Adjusted EBITDA plus principal, interest, and loans, and recurring operational cash flow. These are all very critical financial metrics that too often in my industry were not looked at all. It was just simply kind of the old .com, counting the eyeballs and such, and it was just counting customers and who knows what else, and so we've stayed focused on cold hard cash, and that's really gotten us, frankly, it's gotten us through a lot of very difficult moments. And as I was remarking to somebody the other day, we were not supposed to be here. Tesla was supposed to be here. Even SunPower and Sunrun have out, they both either have been alive, almost 4 times longer than us, or over 2x longer than us. We were the new kid on the block. We were from Houston, not from California. And so it's a testament to my folks is that they've been able to stay focused on the right things, to beat the odds, to surprise the critics, and to be amongst the top energy firms in country, and indeed, I think the world.